Now, hundreds of Nigerian women protested Wednesday at the National Assembly against the rejection of several bills seeking gender equality in the country. They trooped out in large numbers and asked the lawmakers to revisit the gender bills, accusing the lawmakers of choosing to deny women the opportunity of inclusion and representation in governance by voting against the bill. Now, right here in the studio, we actually have with us a women's rights activist and lead consultant, the Access Media Limited. And she's also a publisher of Working Moms. And she's in the studio with us today in the person of Mary Ikuku. You're welcome to the studio. Welcome to Daybreak. It's nice to have you, ma'am.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here this morning. From the look of things, you look protest ready already.
Absolutely.
Well, when you heard this news, how did it come to you?
Oh, you know, the news really, when it was something of shock, because all of us were even at the National Assembly ground that morning before the proceedings started. So we didn't see that coming. It was so depressing. We're dumbfounded. And it also says a lot about the kind of men we have in our National Assembly. It feels bad. It feels like we don't matter. That's what the decision of the Senate and the House of Representatives in voting for the various bills that we put forward towards the constitutional amendment, which we generally call the gender bill. You know, so if the way they voted clearly shows that they don't think that women matter, they just made us feel that we're irrelevant. But 2023, they will know how relevant women are in this country. And in terms of voting power, we have. And then, secondly, we also felt that March 1st, which is supposed to be the first day of the Women's History Month, when women all over the world are celebrated, are spotlighted and highlighted their achievements. But this is the day that Nigerian National Assembly decided to make a history for themselves. It will go down in history as the day, March 1st in this country, is the day that Nigerian legislators legalized gender inequality. That's just how I can sum up what happened on the 1st of March.
Okay, now the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallen, actually came out to say that, you know, the vote is a show of shame. Do you share the same thoughts?
Of course. It's a big shame, really, to, you know, see. It will be really important that we know how these people voted. It's very important. We need to know how each and every one of our representatives and our senators voted, because that will help us to make an informed decision with our votes in 2023. And it is not just a show of shame. I've said it before that this is a time where these people have said to us, you don't matter. Whatever you feel are your rights as citizens of this country, as women of Nigeria, we don't care. Because otherwise, tell me, how can anybody begin to understand? Particularly, look at one of the bills that was disapproved, that they rejected blatantly. It was the bill about women citizenship rights for spouses of Nigerian women. Foreign spouses, right?
Yeah.
So imagine that a Nigerian woman is married to a foreigner. And this bill is seeking that the man, a foreigner, a man in this case, who is married to Nigerian woman, should have rights, after 6 years of that marriage, or 5 years, should have right to access Nigerian citizenship by registration. And they rejected that bill. How does it make sense? And just to say that if the reverse is the case, that when it is a woman, a Nigerian woman, when it is a Nigerian man married to a foreign woman, the woman gets automatic citizenship. How How does it sound to you? So that means that even the law itself is discriminatory. The minister called it a show of shame. She's very right, 100% correct. But it's beyond even the shame of it. It's about Constitution sitting on its own head. Constitution discriminating against itself. A constitution that says a man, a foreigner who is married to a Nigerian woman, cannot access Nigerian citizenship. But a foreign woman, a foreigner who is a woman that is married to a Nigerian man, can access automatic citizenship. And that bill is even asking, can we let the man, a foreign man who is married to a Nigerian woman, be able to access Nigerian citizenship after 6 years of that marriage? Come on.
Okay.
How else do we... I mean, there's several of these bills, all of these bills. If I begin to take them one after the other, you will understand what the minister means by it being a show of shame. It's even... Show of shame is putting it very mildly, I must say.
Okay, now even the vice president's wife, Mrs. Oshibajo, said the defeated bill was not the end of the agitation for women inclusion in Nigerian politics. Now, a lot of people seem to think that this was actually or would have been the right time to have a constitution that is truly representative of the women folks. Some actually also think that, you know, we have actually missed an opportunity. That's the women have missed an opportunity. Do you think same? And also this protest that it's actually going on, it happened yesterday, it's happening today. For how long will it go on?
For as long as they do not address our needs. For as long as this National Assembly continues to remain adamant and sensitive to the causes that we demand for, you know, we will remain there. We are occupying, you know. Yesterday, some of us went there with our mats. A few people came with their stoves. But today, people are going there more prepared than they came yesterday. We're having caterers. People are going to be cooking on that ground.
Interesting.
Just like the
We are not going anywhere. If our children, our young children, our youths could do what they did with the NSAS and sustain it, is it their mothers that will do less? So if the earlier they go back to review, recall, and pass those bills, the better for the country's cohesion.
You know, a lot of people will say this is the first time we are seeing women, you know, with so much anger and with so much power coming on. But others, you know, have actually said that women did not really mobilize enough, which is why, you know, this bad news came to be. Are you of that opinion as well?
Women mobilized more than enough. In fact, it will be a deliberate... it will be, let me put it this way. Anyone that says women did not mobilize or lobby enough is what you call a deliberate mischief. What level of lobbying and mobilization didn't women do? Nigerian women, and this is across civil society, women group, women professionals. Have you seen the first time an organization like WIMBIS, Emerge Women, Womanifesto? These are people who have continued to fight for rights of women in a different kind of way, through economic empowerment, through education. But this is one time everybody came together to fight for a cause through legal framework. And that's why the lobbying started from right... Okay, let me tell you, the bill for additional seats for women, the 111 seat, that bill was sponsored, it's been sponsored by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, first of all. Oh. The Speaker himself. And anybody say we didn't mobilize or lobby enough? To get a speaker, a sitting speaker of this ninth assembly, to even be one of the sponsors of that bill. And then the Deputy Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Honorable Nkiru Konye-Jocha, was also the one leading alongside the speaker and a lot of other incredible leadership of the House. Beyond that, we had the UN women consistently working behind at the back end. We donated consultants, legal consultants to the National Assembly. Consultants who were specialized in gender issues were donated to the National Assembly to work with them to form these laws in the constitutional amendment. Then you watched on TV how we brought in even the wife of the president of this country, Aisha Buhari. She went down to the chambers when the the House, the National Assembly, she went there herself. Not just the wife of the president, the Minister for Women Affairs, and other ministers. We've had civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, women, professional women, CEOs of banks. We had women who mobilized. In fact, the day these bills were rejected, wife of the vice president, Mrs. Dolakwa Oshibanjo, was at the National Assembly with us. She was there in solidarity. We also lobbied men in the National Assembly. But one thing that I can tell you, that anyone that says women did not mobilize enough can only be called is some deliberate mischief and a patented kind of mischief. Because it's never been in the history of this country that women have mobilized to the point that they did. And then all of the public hearings across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, women mobilized. In fact, in every geopolitical zone, women gender bills were the most coherent, the most organized. We were there across 6 geopolitical zones, presenting making our submissions everywhere. In a more united form, with one voice, and with great understanding and proper articulations of the needs of Nigerian women. How much more? Maybe they just want us to just kill ourselves, and then you know that we've mobilized enough. We have done what we're supposed to do, and we will continue to do. And this is not, they should not think they've defeated women. No. This is just a kind of a short discomfort, a very big, it's shocking, quite all right, but I can tell you that we are not going to be deterred. We are going back to the drawing board, and we are tying up our laces, shoelaces, rolling up our sleeves. We'll go back to that drawing board, and we will come back with more strategies on how to progress the conversation, progress the negotiations, progress the lobbying. And we can, I mean, there's always opportunities to do more. Indeed. Among what we've done already. Indeed,
I can see that. Now, you know, as a working, you know, woman, what role would you say women have, you know, in governance? What are the key roles women have to play in governance?
What roles do women have to play in governance? The same role that men play in governance. The only difference is that women are better alternatives in times of crisis, in times of very bad leadership, in times of economic downfall. The way women are better managers of resources, even in their homes. They run the homes like a clockwork that men even wonder, how do they do it? With their multitasking skills, you have that kind of person in leadership, in governance. The sky won't even be the limit for this country. It would just be a stepping stone for what the great possibilities that will be there for Nigeria as a nation. Women in governance. Look at a woman like my late boss, late Professor Dora Akunyili. Everybody in this country knew how she transformed NAFDAC, how she made positive enemies for herself and her families, fighting these fake drug merchants of blessed memory. A woman like Okonjo-Iweala. People asking what women bring to the table in governance. The first woman we have, the first woman to sit and serve as the Director General of the World, what is it called? The World Trade Organization, is our own sister, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, a woman and an African, a Nigerian, and in all respect, a global citizen. And she's doing a great job there. You still ask what women bring to governance. Amina J. Mohammed is there, number 2 in ranking, and the biggest apex global organization in Nigeria, United Nations. It's a Nigerian woman. And for one Okonjo-Iweala and for one Amina J. Mohammed are millions and thousands of Nigerian women with great potentials, skills, character, competencies to lead this country aright, to make this country better, to develop this country. And what women are asking in these bills that have been put to the National Assembly through the constitutional amendment is to say, give women 30% affirmative action for appointive positions, leadership positions, appointive commissioners, ministers, director generals of boards, and all of that. And also to say, where you have a president, let the vice be woman. Where you have a man as a leader, let the woman, the vice be woman. Is this something, I don't know what's difficult about this. And then you also look at, when you look at when I think, look at the women that are in positions. If you look at when we had this list of women, Omobolaji Johnson, the broadband structure you see in this country today was courtesy of that woman as Minister for Communication. The financial inclusion, the first ever debt forgiveness we had in this country was by a woman, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And I can't talk more about our sister, Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili, a woman I have great respect for. She has not stopped fighting for this country. She is also one amazing woman, and we're asking, open up the leadership space by including these women who are doing great stride, including all of these women in this country, including a group of people that make up more than 50% of your population. Nigeria, as it's currently constituted in our leadership, is like a human being that has 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 legs, but you are running with 1 eye, 1 hand, 1 leg. When you exclude women, not just the women, even the youths, even the people living that are differently abled. Right. These are the kind of conversations these bills were to address. And the 111, the select test seat for, special seat for women is just saying, we don't want to touch your existing seats, but let's bring more chairs into the parliament so that we can bring in more kind of lawmaking, a lawmaking that is having the faces of human beings in the lawmaking. Well, and this is what women bring to the table. They look at issues with fresh pair of eyes.
All right, well, some men have actually said that, you know, rather than giving these slots to women, that they want women to fight for the seats. And this is the reason why, or one of the reasons why, you know, the bills were rejected. And, you know, we've seen even in successive governments, you know, there's been, you know, a push for, you know, gender inclusion and everything. And right now, as it is, the National Assembly is saying that there is no going back on the bills at all. What do you have to say, just as we wrap up, what do you have to say to women out there?
The National Assembly has said there's no going back on the bill. Okay. My fellow Nigerian women, if truly the National Assembly isn't going to go back to resign their decision and pass these bills, what that means to you is that they believe you are very stupid and ignorant of your rights as human beings and as citizens of this country. What that means is that you now have to take back your power. The power that you have over the years continued to give to the men. And I understand why, because they are your babies, people you gave birth to, nurtured them, made them who they are, literally. and they become senators and parliamentarians, and they thought, oh, our mothers, our sisters, our friends, they don't need to be part of the lawmaking. Then it is now for you, fellow women, to take your power back. And how can we do that? We need to turn our numbers to resources. And what kind of resource is that? Election-winning resources.
All right.
We're going to use it, and in 2023, we will vote. Every man that did not vote, that voted against this bill, we will mobilize.
All right.
And make sure you don't return to the Senate or the House of Representatives.
All right, thank you so much. Time, unfortunately, time is not on our side. Thank you so much, Mary Ikoko, publisher of Working Moms African Magazine, lead consultant, the Access Media Limited. It was a pleasure having you in the studio today. All right, with that, we've come to the end of Daybreak on Trust TV. It was so much fun, hanging out today.
Very interesting, and I cannot wait. Some would say I'm being biased because I'm a woman, but I cannot wait to see how this all pans out. There's so much anger in the land. Women are angry, and I really hope, the National Assembly listens
Definitely, definitely. All right, I'm Dasha and Husseina Osman. Thank you so much. We'll see you again tomorrow.
And I'm Zainab Bala. Have a good day.